Hey y'all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Amazfit Neo. This is their cheapest smartwatch that sells for only 39 bucks, and this company is a subsidiary of Xiaomi. Now, the reason why the cost here is really low is partially because the display has kind of a retro throwback vibe. It is using a LCD screen that shows you very basic information. So it's not a color display. At the same time, it's an always-on screen and really does help the battery life, since this smartwatch can last upwards of 1 month before you need to recharge it again, which is quite crazy. Still has 50 ATM for water resistancy, and with the companion app, you can then take a look at your statistics and data once you sync it over using Bluetooth. This watch, though, for this price, of course, doesn't have a integrated GPS chip, so if you want to track your route on a map, you would still use your phone, and when you're connected, start the activity from the app. Aside from that, though, it's got pretty much all of the latest generation tracking capabilities from Amazfit's other watches, just in the body of something more retro in style, which is a pretty neat idea, I think. Comes in a number of different colors that you can pick from, and we can still have other metrics here, including the Pi score, including the sensors, which are pretty accurate when it comes to your heart rate as well as sleep. You can also sleep during the day if you're taking a nap, and it will also be able to track that. Technically, the screen measures 1.2 inches diagonally, and the watch weighs around 32 grams, so still very lightweight. So pulling out this tab, we have a few things, including the smartwatch in this little plastic wrap. Here we also have the charging cable. One of the interesting things, though, is they're using a slightly different design compared to the other smartwatches in the current generation lineup. Speaking of, it looks like this, and you would basically just lock it into place by pressing the two sides in. So it's not a magnetic adapter, but still gives you a pretty firm connection. The final compartment here, we have just the quick user guide. For our watch itself, of course, it doesn't have a touchscreen, so it relies on 4 physical buttons on the outer parameters, really, again, similar to a sports watch from years ago. So there is 2 keys here, an up and down button that you can press on. They feel pretty tactile and responsive, and of course the benefit is you can even use these keys if it's raining or if you get it wet, compared to a touchscreen, which is harder to use, say, underwater. And we also have access to the start and back keys that you can press on the other side and kind of offer a pretty nice sensation. So you can tap for a few seconds to wake it up. There is a mono speaker that kind of gives you alerts and also acts as a alarm if you want it to wake you up, and right now it's just in the pairing mode. So again, a very conventional screen similar to Casio sports watches from years ago. The body here is constructed out of a polycarbonate plastic and overall very lightweight, but feels pretty durable because of the bumpers on the edges. Transflective, meaning that it's still very easy to see if there's light hitting on it compared to a backlit screen like an AMOLED or LCD, which would be harder in direct sunlight. But this is one of the advantages here. And then on the back here, the watch is still made out of plastic. We have the sensor array for the heart rate, the charging contacts, and then the watch straps themselves. All right, so a bit of a jump cut. After using it for a while, we can talk a little more closely about the performance and the UI. We can simply see the time at the bottom here, AM or PM markings, as well as the current date. In case it's getting dark and you want to still see the time, you can press on the back key here for a few seconds to illuminate a backlight, and that makes the screen still visible at nighttime. And then inside of this little circle, there's going to be an icon that tells you what the statistic on the side here is referencing. So right now it's telling us our number of steps, which we've completed 1,123, and the entire bar here will reach 100% if we've completed our daily goal. I can tap on the up and down keys to cycle through the features, including distance converted into miles, as well as calories that I've burned, as well as the current weather for the day is also displayed at the side. An icon here telling you that right now it's rainy in our current location. Once more here can turn on a do not disturb mode. Once more will take you into a stopwatch, the Pi score. So just like the other smartwatches from Amazfit at the moment, this can tell you a consolidated health score out of 100 that takes into account your heart rate, your number of steps, as well as how much you're getting sleep, and then combines them all to evaluate your health. It takes a few days, though, to begin calculating an accurate score. And then once again, we'll take you into your current heart rate that's being measured. And then once more here tells you your battery percentage remaining. You can also set up a second time zone, such as right now it's set to LAX or LA time. So there's not really a difference with our current time in Seattle since they're in the same zone. But I can also change this to say Beijing time or a different country or a different city that I care about and quickly see the time differences between them. And then once more here takes me back into the steps. So it's a carousel, but it's pretty easy to get the hang of just using the up and down keys, you can just swipe back and forth between these functions pretty easily. You can hear there's a beep chime as confirmation since it's not a touchscreen. However, if you don't like this sound, you can also mute it from the application. So overall, it's very simple and easy to master, although one observation here is if you want to begin a sports tracking session, such as a running or jogging outside, you have to begin the activity from the companion app. So that's one thing I wish they could implement via a software update, is allowing you to start tracking sports or specific exercises from the watch itself. Also, if you get a notification like a text message or a missed call, that will also be displayed in terms of giving you a quick beep or alert. However, if you want to check out the full contents of the message or reply back, you still have to really turn to your phone. Let's take a closer look at the companion app. So as aforementioned, it's called Zepp, and it's the same app that is powering all of Amazfit's wearables. That means if you are a owner of some of their previous smartwatches and you want to connect to this one, you do have to disconnect from those, then just take a few moments to sync over the properties, including your profile, your goal for how many steps you want to walk, your height, things like that, to better calibrate the sensors and then save that over to the watch. Syncing using Bluetooth is very fast. In terms of some of the stats that we're able to see, including the steps, the accuracy of the pedometer, I would say, is quite good. In this particular case, I did find it to be a little on the active side. So if I took 100 steps, it would sometimes count 102 or 105 steps. But again, still within about 5% margin of error that I consider to be pretty accurate and good as a quick estimation of my activity during the day. It's just kind of the reverse of what I found on the Amazfit GTS and GTR 2s, which were more on the conservative side. Those watches tended to undercount my steps. Again, all of them are good enough as an estimation. It tells me my calories burned, again, average number of steps I've taken throughout the week. Also, my resting heart rate can also be measured continuously, so it will tell you how you're doing during the entire day, and also give you alerts if you are going past the threshold and you should seek medical attention, again, working as expected. Sleep is also automatically tracked, including all the different stages of sleep, such as light versus deep and REM. Also gives you a score that tells you how well you're doing in terms of proportion of different stages of sleep, and also tips to improve your sleep quality as well. And overall, the accuracy of the sleep tracking is very good. It is similar to all of the other current generation models from Amazfit. And same goes with heart rate tracking, is also very accurate and similar in terms of the numbers I saw compared to other wearables I tried it out and compared it with. So no complaints there. In terms of starting a activity or a sports, how you do that from the app here is basically drag up this little bar, such as running, cycling, or walking. So for example, if I want to start a walking session, I'll tap on start, and after which point the watch will just be continuously measuring my heart rate during the entire session. You can see it continuously, as well as the distance converted, my average stride, my average speed, and the entire thing will be just continuously recorded from the watch. Other things that you can set up here include setting up different alarms to wake you up in the morning using that beep speaker. There's also the ability for you to set up different alerts, and under advanced settings, we can further tweak things like whether we want to wake up the screen after we lift it to our face. Well, the screen is always on, but whether we want the backlight to basically flash or activate in the dark, you can set this up, as well as change the different types of detection modes, such as right now it's going to be automatic heart rate and sleep tracking, and I can also turn parts of those functions on or off to either increase or decrease the battery life depending on what features I care about. So you can tweak the frequency of the heart rate tracking to take once every 30 minutes, every 1 minute, 5 or 10 minutes. Again, all plays an impact on the battery performance and depending on how accurate you want the data to be. A few more things here include checking for any firmware updates, as well as changing the world clock. So again, this is the secondary time that you can see on the top portion of the display. And then for the carousel of features that we saw on the watch, I can also reshuffle the order that they would appear after cycling through, as well as delete certain ones I don't want to always see from the watch and then hide them underneath as well. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Amazfit Neo. It's a retro-styled hybrid companion smartwatch, or more of a connected watch than anything else, but it combines fitness tracking discreetly in the sense that it tells you your heart rate as well as your sleep tracking and basic notifications at a glance. It's lightweight and has has actually a very cool design if you're into this retro aesthetic, and kind of disguises itself into something a bit more ordinary. At the same time, offers a always-on transflective display, which is a pleasure to use, especially outdoors when there's a lot of light, and also it has incredible battery life. It's not the most advanced smartwatch. It is missing a few flourishes, like say built-in GPS or obviously a color screen, but that's a trade-off if you want something that has more of a slightly distinctive aesthetic, as well as a casual smartwatch you kind of wear and forget it's there, but still doing the tracking behind the scenes. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below. That's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews, a retro classic that's been the Amazfit Neo.